Hey, hi all. Very good morning. Brief introduction about myself. Right now, I'm working as a senior API automation test engineer with one of the biggest US-based MNCs, and I hold an experience of almost 10 years in manual testing, functional testing, data warehouse testing, ETL testing, BI testing, UI automation testing. Right now, I'm working as a API automation testing, and there are different domains I have worked with, like telecom, retail products, and with respect to the different MNCs like Infosys, Accenture. Coming to the today's agenda, today I would be covering below topics from API testing point of view. First, I would be explaining what is the API, what exactly API means for us, and why do we need API? Because before we go to any training module, we need to understand the importance of that particular training, why we are going to use that, and what is the full form or definition of that particular technology. And the second most important thing, why do we need that tools or technology, what we are going to learn? Because we should be aware what we are going to learn. Either it should be useful in the industry or not, or what would be our future impact with respect to the training we are attending or we would be receiving from the trainer. And the third point is what is the benefits of performing API testing. Always there would be a in any platform there would be always a advantage, disadvantages of doing any kind of activities with respect to about API testing. So I would be taking you through the benefits, why in the industry nowadays they are preferring to go for API testing first, then going to the UI automation testing, the second point. So I would be just giving you the brief introduction, you can say, or the points. I would be explaining you the benefits related to the API testing. Then we have a fourth point: what are the types of API used per the industry standard? Because in IT industry there are types of APIs which are being used. Pretty of them are old, pretty of them are new, and as you all know, IT industry, we can say we are very persistent about the changes. Every hour, every seconds, new technologies are coming. Every day, new tools, new learnings would be there. So based upon that, I would be taking you through how basically what are the different types of APIs. Now, types of APIs testing, how we would be testing those APIs. There are to test any module, there are a couple of ways, as you would be aware, or let me tell you. It would be either manual testing or automation testing. So how we these types of API testing will cover these two feature, exactly how we would be performing the API test. The last but the important one, that the tools which are used in API testing. As you all are aware, to test any APIs, we not only APIs, any module or any product, whether it's a retail or telecom or any different domain product, we would be requiring tools to use to perform the testing. So in terms of API testing also, we have a couple of tools available in the market which we would be using, and we would be using for API testing. So this was all about around 6 points about today's agenda. So this course curriculum will have basically following chapters which to be covered. So first would be the about the introduction of API, then importance. The second would be the importance of API testing, and the third one would be the API used in the industry, tools, technology used for API testing. So advantages of doing API test, and the sixth one is something new, which I would be taking you through, because in any testing you would be requiring the test summary report, because user, they don't know what exactly you have tested, how you have tested. So if any user stakeholders, they want to see how if there are say 300 of APIs test cases are running, how they will come to know which of them have been passed, which of they have them been failed, or which you know uh, what are the status of your complete API test. So this is the sixth point, which is the related to the API test summary report. Now this introduction to what is API. As you all know, it API means application programming interface. So you would have heard about the Ola, or you are using the Ola. So in Ola app, if you see, as soon as you will enter the pickup, as soon as you will first launch the Ola application, then after launching the Ola app, you will enter the pickup and the drop location, and then you will book the cab. So how do you think that Ola is providing you the auto detection of location, how it is showing you the traffic and all? So these are the basically APIs which are been released by Google. So Ola doesn't have any APIs. Ola used to access the Google APIs for the location, for the traffic, and for the other other information. And Ola is paying heavy money to Google, but Google, as we all know, it's a free platform. So this is how it works, because if any company, if they want to develop their own API, sometimes it will cost them heavily, and it would be very heavy in terms of maintaining the separate server and the maintenance and everything. So in that case, they will get the access of third party servers, and using that they will provide the service to their customer. For Ola, we all are the customer. We don't know whether we are using Google APIs or not, because we are only concerned about the Ola app, but how this is the communication is happening between Ola and the Google server. Google is exposing their location, traffic, and other Google Map related APIs to Ola, and they're getting paid by Ola. Why? Because Ola wants to provide the good service to the customer like us. And this communication happens in fraction of seconds that we don't feel. I mean, only the technology people who would be working in Ola company, or from the Google side, they would be maintaining this heavy server, and this communication happens in a fraction of seconds. So that is the API, means application programming interface. So Google has given just a piece of interface. You can say it has provided piece of interface of their code. For API code, they have given the piece of interface to the Ola. So how this is, so this is about the first definition, what is API. Then the second is importance of API testing. Why we test API? We can just any organization, they can directly deploy their APIs. There should not be any issue. But there are situations where APIs are breaking down. APIs got corrupted. APIs will not communicate with the third party server properly, and the APIs will take a lot of time to fetch the response and throwing back to the client machine. So considering all these issues, if we can't we won't be able to detect these issues at the early stage, then you can just assume how it would be a big a big loss for the organization who are developing APIs and providing to the third party. So these are the importance of API testing, because we want to check the durability, we want to check the time efficiency, how exactly and how much time it is taking to fetch the response. And so durability, time efficiency, then how the communication is happening, what kind of response we are receiving. All these are very becoming first priority for the any IT companies to check before they are using these APIs, releasing these APIs to the UI team. So these APIs are basically, all these APIs are would be consumed by any UI application. So these are the backend things. API is nothing but it's a backend services which has to be tested. Now API used in the industry, there are as I told you, there are several different old and the new technology based APIs are being used. So you would have heard there are two types of APIs: SOAP based APIs and there are REST APIs. So SOAP based APIs are pretty old, because to maintain this huge, it takes a lot of time consumption, as well as it takes more time to send the request with the heavy payload, because the payload would be in the XML format for SOAP based APIs. Now coming to the REST APIs, REST APIs, the new one which are being used in industry, in IT companies, in most of the companies now it is being used. So REST is in very lightweighted APIs, and it provides the JSON format. So for the user also it is easily readable, to look into the response and detect what are the errors, how we can fix this. So compared to SOAP APIs, REST APIs are lightweighted, as well as provides JSON format, user readable, all these. So these are the two basically high level APIs which are being used in the industry. Now tools technology used for APIs testing, there are a couple of tools you would have heard which are pretty famous in the market, like SOAP UI, Postman, Catalan we have. But nowadays Postman is pretty famous for API testing. And so advantages of doing API test. Why do we do API test? As I told you, to check the durability of the APIs, whether it's breaking down or it's behaving properly. And then second, how much time it is taking to throw the response, whether it's responding or not, and whether it's giving timeout error. All these are very important. So that's the reason these are the few checks and the advantages of doing API test. Now API test summary report, as I told you, we would have the test summary report, will provide the report, but that is a little less visible for a user. If I'm a user, I don't know about Postman, I don't know about API. I just want to see how the APIs are behaving and what are all there should be in the report. So in those cases, Postman, in terms of generating reports, it has a less feature. So we have a different tool. We can integrate with the Postman easily. It's just very less time. Max to max half an hour to 1 hour of setup is there, and we can generate the report. Introduction part. So yeah, this course will include basic understanding and flow of API test. So we would be covering about how exactly the flow of APIs happens. What is the API flow of APIs? How this client will interact with the server based upon APIs? What are all the response codes we have for successful APIs execution, and for the error APIs? How these all things we would be covering in basic understanding and flow of API test. Now API testing tools used, as I told you, there are the tools which are available in the market. I would be trying to give you the overview on that, like SOAP UI, Postman, Catalan. There are other different other tools, etc. Then advantage of API test over UI test. This is very important. This we should be able to know why we are doing API test if there is already a UI testing team is already available. So because API test comes before the UI test. UI test is the front end test. API test is the basic back end test. When your back end is strong, your front end will work better. So these are the advantages of API test over the UI test. There are other few more things I would be taking you to the in more details. API testing training in the market. There are, as I told you, SOAP APIs testing with SOAP UI tool. This is available, which supports XML APIs, XML format based APIs, REST APIs. As I told you, it works in SOAP UI as well as in Postman. So REST APIs are nothing but it's lightweighted JSON supported format based APIs, and it takes very less time. Even though it if 100 users are using this REST APIs, it would be designed like in this way that it will consume very less time to give the response to the user. That's the reason nowadays in the market we use most of the organization which I have worked with, we have been using SOAP APIs, but they just switched back from SOAP APIs to REST APIs. And the tools, as I told you, we have SOAP UI, Postman. There are a couple of other open source tools are available in the market. So we can, we can go through in the detail later. From MindMajix, you would be getting this kind of certificate, the certificate of achievement, which will have your name and the course which you have completed. And yeah, it's a very good certificate. You can keep it for your future interviews and all. They will consider, they will consider that you had done some basic you have some knowledge, good knowledge in the API testing. Some random topic of this course would be, we would be talking about the API test setup in Postman, then API's execution in Postman, because setup, after doing the test setup, we should be able to know, or we should be aware how we are going to execute each and individual APIs. And the third is very important, because till this moment we have talked about the API importance, API advantages, APIs, reports, tools, technologies, and these all are based upon this, the last third point, which is API response validation. There will be, there are cases where if we validate this API response, we would be able to know how exactly this APIs will behave in the UI side, or any third party applications which would be consuming these APIs. There are a lot of different assertions which I know I'll be able to share you in upcoming session, where we can put restrictions on the response related to the status code, valid messages related to the assertion time, related to the how much time it is taking to fetch the response, and each response node, child node related validations, everything we can put in the response. All these comes under response validation, and it is very important. Till your response is getting validated by assertions, your APIs, test cases are good. It's all good actually. It adds value to the customer, which are investing in your product or the project. This was about the API response validation. That's the reason I insisted a few more points on this response side. Training projects I would be covering. I have two projects. One related to the SOAP API test in Postman, and REST API test with Postman. And these are the system requirement we would be having before we provide API testing. Java environment, 64-bit Windows OS machines should be there. Minimum 1 GB RAM should be there. Postman and SOAP UI should be configured. Additional course, we have manual testing, BI testing, SAP BO, Oracle Discoverer, ETL, data warehouse testing, Pentao UI automation testing, as well as yes, with Selenium Java test ng. And these are the interview questions which are being asked regularly in the interviews. API testing, common test performed on the APIs, key difference between UI level testing, API testing, what is SOAP, what is REST APIs, what is the difference between API and unit testing, what is the tools used for API testing, and how to test APIs. I think for today's session, that's all about I had to share with you all. Wish you all the best, and I hope we'll connect it once again. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.